What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome back to Mind of a Savage. I'm your host, Felipe Savage, and I'm not here alone today. We got the one, the only Pro Daddy of the Fair Shake podcast. Pro, say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people? What's going on? I'd hit my line, but that's copyright infringement, and we on Leap's podcast today. So thanks for having me. Formerly known as the Gruesome Twosome, with El Lipe, and I guess now on to his show.
Indeed. And I know a lot of the viewers we do share. So it's got to be exciting for them to hear you over here. I don't think that anybody expected you to be here. But hey, you're here and we're down to business. And right out the gate, I have to talk about, you did graduate from college in film. Am I right for saying that?
Absolutely, yeah, correct.
And
I have an associate and a bachelor's.
wonderful. And I gotta ask you. We speak a lot about movies here on the podcast, and I want to just ask, with COVID and everything, how likely is it that we're gonna start seeing, because there's been a trend of not so good movies. But now that COVID is, slowing down and everybody's getting those vaccines, how likely are we to start seeing like just a big burst of movies coming out in 2022?
Don't know when the summer comes around. It's typically movie season. We get tons and tons and tons of movies. Now, what happens is that during the spring season, a lot of these films are getting tied up and buttoned up. So whatever what was already recorded or filmed, rather, whatever was filmed is typically done within an 8 to 10 month span, and then you go into post and recording. I mean, editing and all that good stuff. Now, being that it's the summer, people don't want to stay home, and with people getting vaccinated and the mandates getting a little bit less lenient, but people in New York City for the most part have been you know abiding by the rules. I honestly see that theaters will get packed just alone with the last recent films like King Kong and Mortal Kombat. We actually had a big upsurge in moviegoers because the truth of the matter is a lot of people like to be around people despite what you might think. It's okay to be introverted and and have your own ideology and stick to yourself and blah blah blah, but by nature people like to be with one another. And I think this is a perfect time for theaters to start opening up. Yeah, we have apps such as HBO Max that allows us to watch new films at home from the comfort of our own home. But I think that the trend is slowly gonna continue going upwards as long as people, when it comes to COVID and this pandemic, abide by the rules. I'm To be honest, I'm not getting vaccinated. I feel that if there's 100 people in a room vaccinated, and I'm the one person that isn't, I should be fine personally.
Hmm.
And just to answer your question overall, I think opening up movies is a great thing. People, like I said, like to be with each other, and there's nothing like chopping it up. Right before the film, you with your friends or your girl, your kids. Talking about popcorn, what to expect, your hopes and wants for the film you're about to see. There's nothing like seeing trailers of what's to come. I guarantee you that because, for example, HBO Max, we had Mortal Kombat drop. Did you happen to see a trailer drop right before the film? Absolutely
Uh,
not. And I guarantee you that if you saw something, understand, that would kind of, pique your interest. Okay, X movie is coming out soon. I want to see that, but not with the app. So I do believe that there will be an upward trend, like I mentioned. And as far as like new films and movies, the summer again is always action packed. So
mhm.
I hope to see a lot of action filled movies. Um Things that when you come out you're gonna be like, oh shit. I know for a lot of people love the Fast and the Furious films as much as I hate them, but they're a box office seller. You
Yeah, they
understand?
are.
And if we have something like Transformers coming out, or whatever it is, big films like that, people will go out and see them. And I do believe that as long as we have action-packed films coming out this summer, there's without a doubt they're not gonna make their money. So that's my stance on that.
Great, and we have to talk about it because I speak about it tons, and I've always wanted like someone like you that has the knowledge of film, and when it comes to that aspect, let's talk about trailers.
Sure.
And I have a huge thing about trailers where I feel like I now back then I felt like trailers were like a hype up. Now I feel like the trailer is the entire movie. What do you think is this like? uh
So that's one of my
Advertising, like, what is
biggest
what
pet
why
peeves.
do that?
So that's one of my biggest pet peeves with trailers. And the idea used to be is that you give people just a touch in the sense so they could come into the theater and watch it. Now, one of the biggest issues with trailers is that essentially you can cut and really make a film, 2-hour film in an hour, I mean, in about a minute and a half, and you wouldn't believe it. Then let's take Suicide Squad, the new film coming out, right? That's a summer movie. People are excited for it. They can't wait for it. Now, let's just say, um, for example, I don't know if you've seen the Suicide Squad film
I did.
trailer.
Yes.
Did you? Okay.
Yes.
So for the most part, we know the premises of film. It's a bunch of ragtag villains that were forced to work under Amanda Waller to do better for the society. You understand? Which is not like it's not unheard of for a film premise, but you know, is something to look forward to. Now, like if we was to go back to Spider-Man, I'm gonna touch back, I'm gonna come back to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the first Spider-Man film with Tom Holland, right? With him and Vulture, essentially, we knew the film before it dropped because that minute, those 2 minutes, essentially told us everything. You understand? It's a kid who had his powers. He's going up against a guy that was wronged by society, and he wants to get back. And without you watching the film, you actually saw the film in those 2 minutes. Now, the problem is that a lot of people, um, they feel like in today's society is like, why should I go out and see this movie? You understand? So what tends to happen is that you see a lot of like the big action-packed scenes. You understand? Even if it's like 3 seconds, tells a lot of a story. You understand of what to expect. So what happens is you get stuck in this sort of bubble where you want to watch the film,
Mhm.
but then you're like, okay, do I wanna spend, remember, tickets are expensive now.
Yeah.
Tickets used to be anywhere from, like, $9, and they're upwards up to 18 sometimes, and sometimes repulsive places depending on the location, because they also charge for things like 3D. Who watches fucking 3D is beyond me, but that shit makes me wanna throw up, right? Now when
Yeah.
it comes to those tickets, do I really want to spend $15 on a mediocre film? No. So what happens is the people who cut the trailer, because you actually send your film to a trailer studio that cuts the trailer for you.
Right.
In a sense, you could always do it yourself, but they usually outsource that because it's a lot cheaper. What they'll do is they'll take the film, pick the best parts, kind of tell you what the story is about without filling you in on all the details. Sometimes is good for the film because it pulls you in. Other times is like, I kind of know what's gonna happen. Do I really want to spend my money? It becomes like a song and dance. You understand? Like, which is
Mhm.
it that I want to do? Now going back to the Suicide Squad, if you've seen the trailer, you understand, you already know what's happening because this is part two. You understand? You know what's gonna happen. Not only that, how it happens is different because of the way the trailer's cut. We now know that they have to save Harley Quinn for whatever reason, or they
Right.
have to, save the world because I think it's Starro. Yeah, I think it's Starro. He's the main villain. What it seems in the sense. So we have a concept of what the film is, but will we see what's gonna happen depends on those 2 minutes that they use for a trailer, typically.
Mhm.
Um, and then my last note to that, and I'm sticking primarily to comics right now because they've been doing it a lot more. And if you notice the trend in Hollywood, a lot of comic book films have been like blowing up. You
Yeah.
understand? Again, because they're action, they're fantasy. People don't always want to see, you know, a dark tone, anything that is gritty. That stuff is usually saved for the fall and the winter when you have Halloween and you get your horrors and your thrillers, you know?
I
My last film to tell you about trailers, if you go back to the original Avengers Endgame Part 1, right?
Mhm.
Which is Infinity War. If you go to that film and you see the trailer of that one, Hulk is actually running with them in the trailer, right? When they're in
Yep.
Wakanda,
Oh,
but
yeah, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
when they show the film, he's actually just in Hulkbuster. You understand? It's just the Hulkbuster, and people
Mhm.
didn't expect that. You understand? So there are things that they do change and they keep in the trend. There's other things when they do take it out, you understand? It's like, oh shit, I didn't expect that. So when it comes to trailers, it's a hit or miss for me. But as of late, they've been showing too much. So that's my answer to that.
And I couldn't agree more. I think that a lot of times what people are looking for in a movie, well, in a trailer specifically, is just to get them hyped. As to where nowadays it feels like Hollywood, and this goes also for the streaming platforms. Like they'll show you like 10 minutes of the movie basically, and I just feel like, hey, you know what? What's the reason to see it if I seen the movie already with the trailer? But I
Hmm.
have another question here for you, man, and you got to
Sure.
give me the honest pro opinion. Do you think that it's easier or harder to make a superhero movie right now, being that everybody
Okay.
loved Marvel? Is this a easy way out for directors?
So wouldn't say an easy way out for director. I think is an easy way out for Hollywood as a whole right now, because we got to think about the biggest, you know, curator of superhero films, which is Marvel Studios. You understand? Next to that would be Warner Brothers DC Studios. Um, it's an easy one to get into, right? But the staying power, you fighting against some really huge contenders right now, and films like, and I hate to say it, the Avengers, the Infinity Wars, you know they made it more easy for people to come in and enjoy these type of films, you understand? But it comes down to who can write a good cohesive script, you understand, that plays to the fans, one, and also plays to the people that don't know shit about comics or
Mm,
superheroes, you understand? Because take for example
that's a good take.
Punisher, you understand? Take for example Punisher. He has his own movie films, right?
Right.
His own adaptations, but it's actually easier for people to watch a person who doesn't have any powers and is just a man on revenge. You understand? People could gravitate to that because there are people, as psychotic as they are, that's something that they could be like, I can do that. I could be a vigilante. I could have guns and blah 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 and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to just like right now, for example, his show did really really well on Netflix, and people do want to see him have his own film or be part of a bigger ensemble or something. People want to see that. It's a mature, it's gritty, you understand? um Again, it's easy for them to get in, but for people to sit there and watch and enjoy it, that's the hard part. Now, I
Mm,
know you get a lot of shit for this because we give you a lot of shit for this, and I'm gonna tell you why again. Like, easy to get in, hard to stay.
mhm.
Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah.
It paved the way. Well, she didn't pave the way. The other heroes paved the way. The other films paved the way for her to come in, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, for starters, for screenwriting purposes, for story purposes, she was written in, right? The issue then became is that Brie Larson as an actress, she does good films, but this wasn't her film. That's one.
Mm.
This wasn't her film that she was interesting to watch on screen, right?
So I gotta stop you there and
Go ahead,
hold
go
your
ahead,
thought. Hold your
go ahead.
thought there.
No problem.
If not Brie Larson, then who would you cast as Captain Marvel? I want to know. I'm pretty sure Savage Nation wants to know. Like, who would the bachelor degree having film student? Who does he cast as Captain Marvel?
So, uh,
This is a hot
you
seat that
wanna
you're on right now.
you wanna see if, like, the most recent, um, like, who I would, like, speculate or
Yeah.
have who I basically who I would have wanted to play,
Yes.
Captain
Yes.
Marvel.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think like, it's difficult because you can't put somebody that's been, a hero before or give them their redemption arc, kind of, sorta. You understand? Like, their redemption film. Like, for example, what happened with, what's his fucking name? Ryan Reynolds, where he was Green Lantern and became Deadpool, that
Yes.
was his redemption film. Michael B. Jordan, he played Human Torch, and then he played, um, Killmonger. That was his redemption film, you know? But when it comes to Captain Marvel, I would have to say you need a fresh face, someone who's not as if you look at Brie Larson, she stonewalls a lot.
Hmm.
You understand? Like her facial features, what tends to happen is um she has like that stoic look, like that almost like, yeah, I'm important type of face look.
Hmm.
You understand? On screen. Um, to be honest, I would just try to get a fresh face, someone who's new, you understand, who's up and coming acting. Um, and it's really hard, man. I wouldn't know who to tell you because
Could we dabble in the theory of um Sansa? Because I know that she did play the Dark Phoenix and she does play what's her name? But let's say they took her out of that and made her Captain Marvel, would you have accepted that? Because when I hear fresh face, when I hear, on the rise, sort of, that's possibly one of the actresses in the modern era that I do see as somebody that can fit well into a Marvel Cinematic Universe role. Now, as Dark Phoenix, we know how that went. It didn't go as good as people expected, but could you see that happen?
I'm not sure. Can you hear the phone in the background?
No, not at all. We don't hear
Right.
anything.
Okay. So I'm sorry. Repeat that again. Who?
Sansa from Game of Thrones. I don't know her real
Oh,
name, and I
Sansa.
apologize.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sophia something. Sophie some shit. I can't remember right off the top
But
of my head.
could you see that? Because from what you said, your fresh face, new in Hollywood style. Because she has, but so many films as we spoke about. Dark Phoenix wasn't the best start for her. In the sense of superhero.
Yeah,
So
she
could you
could.
see her as Captain Marvel?
Probably not. I think that her role as the Phoenix, she's a lot thinner. Like, you need somebody who's kind of like, I hate to say it, but like a thick body. You understand?
Mm,
Somebody who could show like powers, and I'm sure that a little bulking she could do up. You understand? But she looked
yeah.
funny as shit. Um, I don't think her. But what was the other girl from Game of Thrones? The one that married the Rotten King kid. You remember who I'm talking about?
Rotten King Kid.
Not the Rotten King kid, but he was like pretty much an asshole. He was a jerk off.
You talking about
Right. So the kid.
Ramsey Bolton?
No, 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 no. So he was a Lannister. It was the boy that when he died, when he got killed, his brother was going out with
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. I know who you're talking about. We're on the same page, and I'm pretty sure
um
everybody else knows they've seen Game of Thrones. Know
I
who
think
you're
her name
talking
is
about.
Natalie some shit.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. 100%. I don't know names, and I'm terrible, and
Right.
Savage Nation knows that, but I do know who you're talking about. The woman that married Joffrey.
I think so. Is the kid? Yeah, whoever she is. Her, I know her name is like Natalie some shit. I can't remember her last name right now. But
Right.
maybe her.
Hmm.
I think she has like good on-screen presence, and I think she can make that role her own. Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh,
She
okay.
played Katniss. She's played
Mystique.
Mystique. Maybe she could do a good job on that end, and it would be kind of coolish if they were to do some secret invasion, hint, hint, and she would be like, a nod to to her character as Mystique, but also being a
Mm,
scroll at the same time. They could like do some weird writing there, maybe.
hmm.
And then this is an older woman, but I think she's really strong, and I love her. I think she does really great films. Charlize Theron, she plays in Mad Max. She's the
I
bald head.
yes, I know who you're talking about. Yep.
She was
Mad
also in
Max
the
film
other
is a good film.
film. She was in the other film where she was like a agent or some shit in the 80s or the 70s. I forget the name of it. But those three. Um, but if we was going with already established actresses, but as far as like new ones, I think that would need a fresh face, someone who isn't as stoic as what's her fucking name? Brie Larson. So you put me on a hot seat there because I was
Yeah,
at a
we
loss
definitely
for
did.
words.
We definitely
And
did.
um and I will admit to this that when it comes to that role and to Captain Marvel, they made her so fucking OP. You
Yes.
understand? That it was just like there was no real reason to chase her in the film, like to really be like, okay, she's doing something of importance.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know?
I think that Captain Marvel was definitely easier on the eyes for viewers that have been keeping up with Marvel movies because of how good the Marvel movies before Captain Marvel came out were. So it was like easier to watch. I know some people
Yeah.
disliked it and really do consider it the worst of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. And I could see where people come from. I do think that Brie Larson gets too much hate because, again, embodying the role of Captain Marvel is tough. It's a
Mhm.
actual
Yeah, so
character
then
that really
that goes back
takes
to
more.
my point before,
Mhm.
what I was just like, it's easy for them to come in, you understand,
Yep.
but it's hard to be established because you understand these films are so grand that when it comes to, for example, putting in a new hero into the films, the writing has to be one good. You understand? Nobody wants to see a shit story. And then two is like it's all these great films that paved the way for superhero films is hard to make it your own. Like the Christopher Nolan Batmans are possibly one of my favorite trilogies of all time. In
Mm,
in the first film, you have Ra's al Ghul. He's fighting his inner demon, so to speak. In the second film, you have Joker. You understand? He's fighting this sociopath that doesn't care for anything, a true anarchist. You understand? And in the last film, you're fighting for someone who is against that goes against the grain, that go against the so to speak, the power at B, you understand, which is Bane. And then you
mhm,
pepper in, little side characters like Scarecrow and shit. And then you have a really strong foundation for, like I said, good films. They pave the way for these superhero films to come in, and then it comes down to the staying power. Is like, how can you get a film to stay and really solidify its spot within these bigger films? So
I can't agree
easy to
more.
get in, easy to get in, hard to stay.
Agree. And honestly, I think movies are going to see a huge uptick in everything in every category because I think one, as you stated earlier in the podcast, people are kind of tired of being home. So, I expect sales for next year and even leading up to the summer, I expect them to like excel, and especially the movies that they delayed. that being said, we're gonna move on over to the video game side of Mind of a Savage, and we have some sort of
And
topic
I
here.
will throw this
Go
in
ahead.
real quick for the moviegoers. I
Yeah.
know, people heard about the Superman, the Black Superman film coming out. I
Oh,
would love to see a film like this, but my choice for Superman, and this is obviously not Michael B. Jordan, right?
oh,
He is a
wait.
fantastic actor, but I will say this: if you guys have seen Hamilton, one of my favorite black actors, I think he's good. He could play the role good. Is Leslie Odom Jr. Shout outs to him. He did a great job in Hamilton. He also has a film on Netflix. I
So,
can't remember the name, but it's about a pandemic. And yeah, I think he would make a good black Superman. So
uh, uh,
that's my
we were
choice.
we were gonna transition over to speak about Nintendo, but ladies and gentlemen, you could clearly see that Pro did not watch the last cast. So we going fish and rod and dial it back and bring it on in, because we need to talk about Black Superman. The people's theory around Michael B. Jordan. You seen Without Remorse, and without giving spoilers, Michael B. Jordan
Mm,
Michael B. Jordan absolutely annihilated this movie.
mm-hmm,
I can't. And I speak about this in the last cast, and I apologize because I know this is like I just put up the last cast, and then we shooting this. Um, so it's not your fault that you didn't hear what we spoke about there.
mm-hmm.
We do talk heavily about this topic, and one of my biggest things is I would love to see Superman versus Batman, Robert Patterson versus Michael B. Jordan as Superman. Drop the black, because you give that man the praise and how good he embodies a role. Boy, I felt for this guy Without
So
Remorse. I
Michael
gotta
B.
hear.
Jordan,
I gotta hear your theory.
I will say, has really come into his own. From the film where he was on, I forgot the train. It was about the train. He actually played the you know R.I.P. to the real person in IRL. He had played. It was some shit. I think it was something Fruitvale Station or some shit
Yes,
like
I
that.
know. Yep, I know what
Um,
movie you're talking about.
you know, um, my condolences go out to the family. Black Lives Matter. But going from roles like that, where he was like this young teen. I don't know if you guys ever seen The Wire. He was actually on The Wire on HBO. I highly recommend this show. I guarantee you guys are gonna love it from beginning to end. You will be hooked every single episode. And since the show has came out, it's in circulation. You can find it almost anywhere. And it's called The Wire. Watch it, and that's gonna be one of his starting roles. He actually plays a young man
I
who,
gotta
like,
watch this.
sells drugs or whatever. And you're gonna see his transition from then till now,
I'm
how he
heavily
has
on the Michael B.
developed,
Jordan train.
how he's developed as an actor. Creed, he did a phenomenal job in Creed. You understand? Again, his role as Human Torch was not his fault. I don't think his role, as people were, oh my God, it's a black Human Torch. Get over it. You understand? Be on. Let's get the fuck over it. It doesn't matter the race. It matters you're playing a character. You understand? You're playing a character, and if you can embody that character, you understand. And I feel like, again, he embodied it as the best he could and made it his own. It worked, but again, it was just a story and whole. So that's not his fault.
Hmm.
But if you watch Creed, right, he did a good job in Creed. He did a
Phenomenal.
phenomenal job as Killmonger. You understand? Like, he embodied the role of a person who's tired of being oppressed. You understand? Who's tired of being tired of the same shit that goes on to his people. You understand?
Hmm.
And he has a dynamic, like, I feel he has dynamic range. You understand? Like, he could play a person who jokes around, and he could play someone who's very serious. I'm gonna recommend some films that I really do believe you should watch if you given the chance. Obviously the Creed one, good. If you guys haven't seen, he plays a lawyer. His name is I forgot his name, but the film is called Just Mercy, and he basically is trying to help Jamie Foxx.
Oh,
Really
I
good,
I seen that movie. That's a good movie. That's a great movie.
really good. He did a great job in The Awkward Moment. This is an old film. And I don't know if you remember, because he's dabbled in hero films before. So I don't know if you remember the film Chronicle with that basically they had touched like a weird ass rock or some shit
Oh,
in a
I
thing.
remember. It was like in the ground. I
Yeah.
remember that movie. Yes.
So
Yeah. Wow.
he's definitely had his, his how you say his range in films, you understand? So I do believe that he has good staying power as a great actor, and especially as someone who plays an action star. And I do think that we need again Hollywood. This isn't a matter of opinion; it's fact. Hollywood has too many people that are non-ethnic playing heroes or playing people that obviously somehow could always get it done. You
Hmm.
understand? Now, I would love to see if there was like how they had do death battles,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
I would love to see his character up against like a John Wick. You
Oh,
understand?
we spoke about this. We
Oh,
said
did
it on the
you?
last cast. We
Oh
spoke
man,
about this. We called him
I would
Jordan
see.
Wick, his half brother. Bro, I'm telling you, this exact moment came up, and this is why great minds think alike, ladies and gentlemen.
I
Um,
didn't know that.
this is so amazing that Pro himself, somebody that studies film, and me that just enjoys them, can come up with that same idea. And it's just phenomenal. But continue. Sorry. Continue.
So I
Yes.
would like to see him like I would like to see some sort of gauntlet where it would be like, his character versus like John Wick versus Taken versus Equalizers and Denzel Washington, all these like tactician, gun user type people. I think he would fit a good role in some form of like even going up against someone like Wesley Snipes. That I think that would be
Hmm.
cool.
That would be sick.
But again, this is all like fantasies, wanting to see people up
Fan fiction.
against each other. Exactly, like fan fiction. Um, and I will definitely see him doing like I don't know if you know about the new Blade film. What's his name? Some what's his fucking name? Um, oh, I gotta look up.
So they confirmed new.
Marshala Ali. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. Mahershala Ali, he's supposed to play the new Blade,
Oh nah, they
but
going in.
I think it would be cool to see him like maybe have like a protege and Michael B. Jordan be in the film or something. You
Hmm.
understand? Because again, I think Hollywood needs a lot of black celebrities, Latino American celebrities, and that would be it for my choice of of hero people being casted. Like I
Wonderful.
said, Leslie Odom Jr. I think he'll do a good job as a young Superman, as a black Superman, and then I will leave you off on this note when it comes to that film. There's a scene, no spoiler, nothing that would really break the film for you guys. There's a scene where they have a gunfight building the building, and it just took me into like Warzone vibes, and I just had to watch it. I mean, I
Hmm.
just had to play Warzone afterwards, and
Hmm.
I'm just having my own moments because as much as I love playing squads, I don't like to be the fault for anybody's downfalling, so I
Right.
prefer playing solos, and I find it to be more skillful when you're playing solos. So I just catch myself putting myself in like situations where I play solo duos and I'm just shooting people, pa, 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 and I'm fucking reloading my own guns and shit. But I mean, that's neither here nor there, and I digress. So Leslie Odom Jr. for Superman, and go out if you haven't seen it. Michael B. Jordan's last film.
Yes, again, that is Without Remorse right now on Prime Video. We are not sponsored by them, but boy, oh boy, we should be. But moving on, and we have to talk about the. I don't want to call it an elephant in the room. I want to call it the mouse in the room. And hear me out here. We gotta talk about Nintendo. Where is Nintendo? The mouse in the room that is Nintendo. because this is a huge company. They just opened up Nintendo Land over in Japan and did all these amazing things. But I spoke about this a little bit on the cast about last season, and I just feel as though Nintendo is being slowly swept under the rug, in the sense that
Mm.
it's not putting out anything that appeals to the masses besides the fans that they already have. You think of things like
So,
Monster Hunter. I
um,
know you've been playing that. Where is Nintendo, bro? Where is Nintendo?
so for the most part, I think Nintendo's in a great place, and this is someone who uses their Switch basically as their primary console. Um, they have again the problem with Nintendo is a lot of their games are meant to be casual.
Hmm.
What happens is the fan base, their user base that turns the games competitive. Example, Smash Brothers. You understand? It was meant to be a party game, but it has its own community which people play competitively. You
Right.
understand? Um, you have Pokemon, another game where it was meant to be casual. You collect them all, you fucking breed, and that's it. And the story, you done. But then it has its community where they make it competitive. And then they actually have sanctioned league play by Nintendo, where they have juniors, masters, masters one, two, so on and so forth. Um, a lot of their games that are typically meant to be party games and casual end up being competitive. Now,
Hmm.
that's not to say that that's not their main focus, because if you look at the trend of the games that have been coming to their marketplace, they've been having a lot of ports. Like we have Doom on the Switch. Doom is one of the best games that have ever come out in the most recent years. You understand?
Right.
They have a lot of third-party games that have been ported over, like old school Unimusha. I don't know if you've played it before. It's a great game. They have the Resident Evils. Again, even though they're ports, they're making the excuse me. Stayed up late last night. Sorry, people.
It's all good.
But they've made games in which they're taking their third parties and they're porting it over to essentially have on the go.
Right.
Now, um games like, for example, Splatoon, it's a hard sell for them to get something like Call of Duty on a system, because for a lot of people that's like a childish system, right?
Hmm.
So the reason why Fortnite would work on such a console is because it's cartoony, it's super fucking meta. You understand? Anybody who's anybody is in fucking Fortnite, and if you're in
Yes.
Fortnite, you are producing, you understand, some form of talk and generating talk. The
Yeah.
problem is, right, you have your company like Sony who cries that they're not making any money on it. The idea is to not make money on it. The idea is to, I mean, it is to make money. Bottom line, money talks, you understand? But the idea is to get people from your side, from their side over to this side.
Hmm.
Oh man, it's Kratos in Fortnite. Who would you have ever thought you would have shot a gun with Kratos?
Yeah,
No.
that was surprising.
No. He comes into the game, wow, everybody went crazy. And then a week later, Fortnite drops Hey Master Chief, and people went even bizarre. You understand? Um Now, to answer your question of the of where are they, I think they're in a great place. They have a lot of games. They have Animal Crossing, Legend of Zelda, the Monster Hunter Rise. I'm almost at 250 hours onto it. Don't ask me
Wow.
why, I'm a fucking psycho.
Wow.
The Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8. They just dropped the DLC to Super Mario World 3D, Bowser's Fury. Um, my wife, your sister-in-law, Dolores, she's been playing Luigi's Mansion 3. I bought the Superstar saga that comes with what's this fucking called? Sunshine, Mario 64, and I can't remember the last game. Mario 64, Sunshine. Oh, and Mario Galaxy. Um, I've been playing Mario Maker. I love making my own stages, my own stuff. There is stuff for people to play in this, and I
Hmm.
do think that they have a lot of staying power, a lot of potential. That's why games like Apex Legends is doing so good on the Switch. It looks like dog shit. I'm not gonna lie to you,
Yeah,
but
from what
you
I seen, it
understand,
looks bad.
yeah, people know, you understand, that they can get that fix either on the go, on the comfort of their bed, you understand, on the sofa, on the toilet, however it is, while cooking dinner, you understand, you can get a fix.
So we got to speak about it then. Great way to swing into the next question. Um, is the Nintendo Switch next gen enough
It's
for the
not next gen.
masses?
I will tell you right now, it's not next gen at all. At all. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it is, because it is not. There's been rumors and there's always talk about a better upgraded system, that they supposed to have a better chipping in it, a better processor, OLED, bigger screen, less bezels, whatever it is. That's always
Right.
been a talk from them, and they haven't, fully announced. And from my understanding, the hardware of the new Switch that's been in the makings for God knows how long is supposed to mirror that of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 5. No, 4, I'm sorry. 4. Don't
Hmm.
don't fucking chop me up for that.
Wow.
But like I said, the console is accessible. You have your Fortnites, your Rocket Leagues, all those other games I mentioned before. You understand? Minecraft came over to it. It has high potential to continue being the best, if not the number one,
Mhm.
portable seller of all time. And with the plethora of colors that they keep dropping, and to be honest, for a lot of people, they can bite the bullet on $200
Mhm.
over three, four, $500 on the next gen console, or even a current console, and still have accessibility to all these other games. You understand?
So
So,
let's think uh we're in that phase of Nintendo where they got a system in the PS4 Xbox One realm, right?
mhm.
What about some new mainstream characters? Why doesn't Nintendo dabble with that? Why are they
I think
stuck with
I
Super
think
Mario and Link
because
and
they know who their characters are, and you cannot get those characters. Let me tell you, you throw Mario in a fucking room filled with 100 Kratoses, everybody's gonna be like, I know who Mario is.
Mhm.
You understand? You throw Luigi in a fucking room full of 100 Gears of War characters, I know who Luigi is.
Right.
These motherfuckers are not going anywhere.
So
Pokemon is possibly one of the, if not the highest fucking selling RPG game of all time. You know what a fucking Pokemon is. You know what a Pikachu is. You
s-
understand? So it's hard for them to make new IPs. And when they
right.
make new IPs, it has to be one that kind of fits into their lineup of like these Marios, Links, Donkey Kongs. I think that's why Splatoon is so good, because the Inklings,
Yeah.
which is the Squid Kids. You understand? There was nothing like it on the market. They came into their own essentially, and they have staying power. You understand? So a lot of times when they dabble in like new IPs and such, the the IP itself has to be something that they know that the money they invest in that, you understand, has to be like a strong seller, and I don't think that's a risk that they're willing to take at the
So
moment,
is
personally.
Pro Dadii prepared to play Super Mario Brothers 3054? Are you prepared to play that in
More
100
than
years from
likely,
now?
yeah.
you know,
If I'm
and
alive in 100 years from now, probably.
I for one cannot stand the fact that just they're so passive with their video games. I feel like they know that, hey, we all know Super Mario's gonna sell. We know uh Zelda and Link and all these characters, Donkey Kong. We know they're
All right,
gonna sell.
I have a
But
question. I have a
where
question
at
for you.
what point does Nintendo say, hey, you know what? Let's get somebody new into the lineup. And why does it take 30 years for them to make somebody new?
Again, because like I mentioned before, that character or that new game has to fit into their, their repertoire of established, you understand,
Hmm.
video games. Pokemon Snap just dropped, bro. You mean to tell me nobody doesn't know what Pokemon Snap is? And
Oh,
they're
of
like,
course,
oh
the
my God,
masses.
I could take a fucking picture of a Pikachu. Like, you can't do that on Pokemon Go, but they're still gonna go buy it. You understand?
Right, right,
Nintendo knows what they're doing, and I think for them to switch you know, their ideas to something else is kind of hard. And I'm gonna say it this way because I think it's the best way I could word it while it making sense. There's a game called No More Heroes, right? With Travis some shit. I can't remember his name, but basically he wields like a fucking laser blade,
okay. So
right?
Star Wars.
Essentially, yeah. And you know, when he dropped, he wasn't like this whole big thing because his game had dropped on the Wii.
Right.
So for a lot of people, the motion controls was a hit or miss. You understand? He eventually became a cult classic. You understand? And then everybody was like, "Oh man, when is this guy gonna come out?" So when something like that, where it didn't hit the first time, but later on people just decided to pick it up and it's become wild in a sense. I could understand why they would rather not dump a whole bunch of monies into something that they don't know really what's gonna hit. But when you have the Switch, for example, where you could use it to fucking exercise with, you understand? And then they had the other game, the tabletop one, where you
Right.
could play like with your friend just using one Switch or whatever. And all the what's it called? I think it's called Switch 1-2 or some shit like that. I used to play it in high school, Phil. In college, while we used to wait in the class and we used to like take turns playing tennis and shit. You
Right.
understand? Again, it's a party system and it's accessible. I don't know if you know this, but their recent game, well, not recent, but their Mario Party recently got an update where you
Yeah,
could play online with
that's
people, and
exciting.
that's, to be honest, that right there alone is something that gen- you know generates people to come back to a
Right.
game that was essentially nobody was playing because there's a fucking pandemic and the people in your house, you get tired of beating their ass, that it's like, why play it? But now it's accessible online. I'm gonna close it with this, is I think if we haven't, we'll be here forever talking about Nintendo. Um, they have something for everybody. You want to race, you have your Mario Karts. You want adventure, you have your Zeldas, your Mario's, you whatever the fucks and blah blah blah. You understand? You want your horrors, there's there as third parties like Resident Evil and shit like that.
Right.
You want your BRs, you have Fortnite and Apex. You want to basically live at home and do the same shit in a video game, you have Animal Crossing. You understand? It's there. There's games for people to play. You understand? It has great staying power. It's gonna be here for a while unless the new system doesn't come out within the next 2 years. I don't think that is not gonna be bought because again, it's easy for you to stomach a $200 purchase over a $500 purchase, especially right now where it's almost near impossible to get a new console, a new gen.
Right.
You understand? Where it's almost nearly impossible to you play something new on those new games. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, PlayStation doesn't have anything that's worth getting that's fucking wild over. You understand?
Hmm.
Returnal just came out, and whatever few games that came out before that, not many. And then on Microsoft's front, if it wasn't for the Game Pass or the Ultimate Game Pass or whatever version of the fucking pass you have, I'm almost certain you wouldn't even touch that because there are no new games being made for those new consoles as of right now.
Agreed.
But with a Switch, when you can
Very
pay
much agree.
$200, in the percent plus the tax, a little under $300, I'm almost certain you can leave with the system, the fucking live service that they have, buy something on the marketplace or a game that'll keep you there for a while, and it's easier to stomach, you know? It's this current climate that we're in,
Right.
when you wait for something like the what was that fucking game called? The Halo shit that was supposed to come out,
Halo
and
Infinite.
they started making fun of what was the guy named Craig that
Craig.
they
Yep.
called it. You understand? Everybody was like, "Oh man, this fucking game is gonna be awesome," and then they saw just an image of him that came up on the screen in real time, and they were like, "The fuck is this?" You understand? I don't want to play next gen
Yep.
games, right? That look like two fucking gens ago.
Yeah.
Period.
It
You
was bad.
understand?
It was
So
bad.
just to button it up, I think Nintendo is in a really great place. They have a whole bunch of games. Whereas the next gen stuff, they still playing catch up for the next year or two. So
I gotta ask the question on everybody's mind before we do close out here. Pro, stranded on an island. What's Nintendo system are you taking, and what game you're taking for that system?
which Nintendo system?
You could pick any Nintendo system and any Nintendo like for that system,
Okay.
one game. What are we taking?
Mm,
Hot seat.
shit. I'm definitely not bringing anything fucking Animal Crossing related because that game, after like the first week, you're like,
So
okay, I already did
so give us
this.
the system first. What system are you taking? Because there's many and they have so
Mm.
many great ones.
So this is strictly systems because I'm almost certain that all your listeners only on console, not PC. Okay, that's fair enough. I could do with that. I'm definitely gonna take with me. I wanted to say PlayStation, but where they're at, I can't do it.
No, no, no. What
Um,
Nintendo system?
oh,
Excuse me.
Nintendo.
It
Oh,
has
okay.
to be
'Cause I thought
specifically
you.
made from Nintendo.
Okay,
Stranded
so
on an
then
island. He has one Nintendo.
I'm definitely taking the Switch.
Okay. And what game?
Um, Probably something that has a lot of replay value, and I could change it up. Do I have Wi-Fi and shit like that?
You got Wi-Fi. You got Wi-Fi. My island, you got Wi-Fi. My island. Now, that's
Okay,
crazy talking.
so I'm connected to the world. I just can't leave the island.
You just can't leave.
Um, hmm. Probably Mario Maker too. It'll keep me busy.
Wow.
I like building shit. I like playing people's levels. I actually have a bunch of I specifically just do hard levels and I play hard levels. So yeah, I think Mario Maker 2 and I'm taking a Switch.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. This was Pro Daddy, one of our first official guests here on Mind of a Savage. He will be taking a Switch and Mario Maker 2. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, you already know. Have a good day. Get going because I know you got this. And ladies and gentlemen, goodbye.